here today with Laurie Sanders. She's the program manager of motorcycle safety at the College of Southern Nevada. Today, she is here talking about her ministry and what she's done over the past 30 years to make sure that when you're out on your motorcycle, you come home safely.
I'm glad to be here today. I believe that training and having the correct gear and the right attitude out on the road will allow you to have a long and successful career as a motorcyclist.
So
Yeah.
you and your husband
We
went
went
on
on
your
our
honeymoon.
honeymoon on the motorcycles.
Yeah.
Figured if we could survive that, we could probably survive, and we were married for 25 years.
Oh, nice. So where did you ride to?
We went we went to Colorado, to Durango, Colorado. We got married on May 1st. It was hot
Mm,
here.
yeah.
It snowed on us getting into Durango, and I had never ridden in snow. Um,
Mm.
so it was like, it's snowing. He's like, it's cold. Yeah, it's cold. Finally, a few minutes later, it's like, can we pull over? Well, sure. Why? I was already in my winter gear. He was not.
Oh no.
Didn't
Uh,
even occur to me. It's snowing.
yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing
Uh,
going through my head is, oh my God, and it wasn't even sticking on the road. But then, of course, as you dropped into Durango, it rained. So now you're
mm.
cold and wet.
And this is your honeymoon.
This is your honeymoon. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
And we had a wonderful honeymoon. It was fun.
And so now for 30 years you've been working with CSN
Yes.
as a riding coach.
As a rider coach, yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of put you in that direction to go out there and to help others?
Well, um, what? Yankee Traders, I don't know. How long have you been in town? You've been a long
I've
time
been
in
here for
town.
20 years. Oh, almost 20
Okay.
years.
So
Coming up for 20
Yankee
years.
Traders was the Harley slash BMW dealership over on Valley View and Desert Inn. And the college
Mm.
had put out that they needed rider coaches, and they really needed female rider coaches. Well, since
Mm.
I rode a Beamer, I answered the ad and thought, well, okay, this looks like a good kind of part-time something to do, and so I did it. And I like teaching. I like
Mm.
watching riders, people that want to ride, begin to get the physical movements, begin to get some sense of what this really is, and watching them develop. And so I just kept it up. And then it becomes a passionate about how many people can we save. Um, I was looking at your questions, and like your last question, what should a rider do after a crash? Okay, the problem is after a crash.
Hopefully you're still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And my whole focus is to mitigate the issues before the crash. And it says, to legally protect themselves. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And getting back to that, right? Like your main focus is to make sure that people have fun and live through the experience as
Right.
well, because those that ride motorcycles on a daily basis as a commuter, the mortality rate within the first 5 years is so high here in Las Vegas.
Well, and that comes from, I mean, I rode among them, I drive among them, and it's like, would you please go the speed of other traffic? Please slow down. Please pay attention to what's going on around you. Please assess the risk more realistically, because they don't. I mean, we get notices through the Department of Public Safety, of metro postings, and out of 10, at least 7 will be witnesses, and cameras show that the motorcycle was going well above the speed limit. And the problem is that the car drivers can't judge their approach speed.
What affects that? What affects the drivers being able to determine what the speed is coming in? Because
Profile of a car.
mm-hmm,
As it comes toward you, the headlights separate, the car gets wider,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Profile of a truck. How many times do people run in the back of a truck? Because as it came towards you, what's the major dimension?
The height.
Uh-huh. And it
Mm-hmm,
didn't get wider, and they didn't judge how fast they were approaching it.
mm-hmm,
Profile of a motorcycle.
mm-hmm.
What chance have they got?
Right, because there's just one light on it the entire time,
Not only just
and
one
then it's
light, but
narrow.
look at how, yeah. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
so they glance back. They glance left turning car, looks down the road, motorcycles at the intersection below where he's going to turn.
A whole different block down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even half a block.
Mm-hmm.
If he's doing the speed limit, which is what, 35 maybe?
40, yeah, 35, 45, right?
45?
Yeah.
That car's got all the time in the world to make that turn. But he's not doing 35, 45. He's doing 65.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing 70. And that car, he looked, I know they say I didn't see him. Sometimes I didn't see him means they weren't in what I consider as a car driver, my immediate interaction area. So they have no chance. We don't, as drivers, we don't spend the time maybe to watch, to see, okay, he's there, but if I look back, he's gone much further than I expected. Oh, there could be a problem. Car drivers aren't doing that.
But a lot of awareness has gone out towards that, right? To make sure that drivers recognize that, right? That the
Well,
motorcycles are
they
out
keep
there and they're
they
so unprotected, right?
yeah,
Because
they are.
like within a car, we're a little bit more safe, but on the motorcycle, you're just susceptible to any
Oh,
little impact can
sure.
cause severe injury, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
because you've got no crumple zones, no seat belts, no whatever. Yes, car drivers bear some of the responsibility.
Yeah.
But if the motorcyclist is exceeding the speed limit, if the motorcyclist is acting recklessly,
So,
then some of the responsibility comes right back to, and I
mhm,
talk about that if you want to just go down these questions, but I
yeah.
talk about that.
Mhm.
Consider the risk and be realistic about evaluating the risk. Make honest, accurate assessments, including not everyone else on the road is as attentive to driving because they're not at risk. I mean, how many safety features have we put in these cars? When I
Mhm.
first started driving, seat belts weren't even required. Okay?
Yeah.
Now we've got cars with lane assist and beeps if they're anywhere around you. People don't check their blind spots because they figure the car is doing it for them. I've watched commercials where the car will do this, the car will do that, and the guy's talking in his head. Goes, "You're free to drive," and I'm going, "He's doing everything but driving."
Yeah. And so now you throw in the mix a motorcycle where you're relying on the electronics of the car to pick up that motorcycle. It's going to pick up the motorcycle. You don't know.
You don't know.
And so as a motorcyclist, as a coach, that's what you're trying to do is advise them of the risk, right? Their risk is so high being out there.
Well, their risk versus their skill level. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There are guys out there, their skill level, yeah, they can do 100 and 120. But what they're not doing is assessing the risk of doing that someplace other than the track. Doing that, I mean, you do it on the track, they're primed for you. The other people that are out on the track expect it. You do it on the 95 or the 15 or Boulder Highway, nobody's expecting that.
Even more, just the road conditions as well.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Debris.
Oh,
It
yeah.
could be potholes, right? Rocks that the construction trucks have left behind. I mean,
Oh,
there's just so much out there that
oh,
you can't
absolutely.
anticipate.
What'd you say? Environment and conditions, specific things. Crack seal, we call them tar snakes. Gravel, rocks, sand,
Mm-hmm.
dust. Just dust.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about potholes.
Mm-hmm.
The steel plates
Yeah.
are slippery as heck. Add a little dirt to them and see what's going on. Wet leaves, or even better, your neighbor who insists on watering the concrete. Okay. Every one of those drainage areas where the water sits, you get mossy, you get algae in it. It's greased lightning. Yeah, all
Hmm.
of those road conditions are liquid spills, uneven pavement, road construction, those big tall plastic cones. Somebody
Hmm.
knocks one down, the real plasticky ones, not the barrels. Okay? That's in the lane, you don't catch it, you run
Yeah.
over that plastic, away you go.
Yeah.
Stuff falling out of trucks.
So is that what you're doing as a coach? They come to CSN, they're meeting with you, they're working on getting, the proper licenses to be on the street, and then you're kind of death and grim to them to keep their eyes open.
Well, yeah, we talk about, we use an acronym called C, search, evaluate, execute. We talk about maintaining a proper following distance so you have time to respond. Because a car, you're going down the road and a car can, there's a piece of rock or something in the road. Most of these vehicles, not my Prius, but most of these vehicles will clear that, right?
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
but if you're right on top of them, you got no time to change your lane position. If it happens to be right where you are, you're going to hit it. So, leaving that following distance, keeping we call it a space cushion around yourself so you're not so close and on top of things. Um, yeah, we
Yeah.
talk about all of that. We talk about, you know, looking how far ahead you should be looking. What's your immediate, I'm going to call it your immediate crash area within 4 seconds of you? What's your planned path? That's 12 seconds out. At 60 miles an hour, that's 1,000 feet.
And so in providing these type of details, these kind of stats to everybody, this kind of safety awareness, I mean, you're trying to do everything you can to make sure that they're going to enjoy it safely
Yeah,
and
and
stay on the
and
road.
and we're trying to change the higher, in other words, not just talk about it. We're trying to get them to internalize it and make it part of their value system. We're trying to change values and habits and attitudes. That's
Mhm.
that's really that's a lot of what we do. Because the physical ability to ride a motorcycle, you can eventually learn, just like you learned how to ride a bicycle, if you learned how to ride a
Mhm. Mhm.
bicycle. But I mean, you
Mhm.
you do, those physical movements can be taught, but it's we got to go beyond that. We've got to get into the values and the habits and what they've internalized so that they make these decisions, they make good responsible decisions. We talk about your emotional state. I mean, if you're not emotionally steady, and you see this all the time, you can flip on YouTube and find somebody that, oh, somebody got close to me in their car, so they're now yelling and screaming out the window. That person wasn't emotionally steady when he got in that car. Okay. and
Right.
and, and it can be, you can be really really
Mm.
happy. I mean, look at
Mhm.
the big mega winners here. The next thing you know, they're in some kind of a car crash or some kind of trouble because their mind wasn't on what they were doing. It was on, this big emotional high. Or
Mhm.
like in my case, you have a loss. Maybe somebody should come drive you because your mind is on, not on, your emotions aren't, you're not emotionally stable at that.
Like when you lost your husband, and
Yes, yeah,
right, and so recognizing it's probably not the best time to be on the road. And so
exactly.
a motorcyclist, because you have to have an increased attention other than other drivers, and they're really having a
Yeah,
sharp emotional state.
yes, exactly. One of the
And
things if you have a argument with your wife, okay, go take a walk, don't take a ride. Don't get on the bike and go take a ride. Go take a walk.
but some just a kind of counterpoint to that is like a lot of reasons, like that's what the motorcycle's for though, right? To go out there and enjoy and to feel free and to feel relaxed and to
That's
separate yourself, right?
right, but we got to get out of town.
Get out of town first. Go out to
you
away from the
know,
cars.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and there again, it's you have to judge. You have to judge you. Every person is different in that. But if you're super angry, getting on a motorcycle is probably not a good idea.
Mhm.
Truck it out there if you have to. And yes, lots of it's great. It's absolutely
Yeah.
great.
So as you go through this with the students, with the ones that you're coaching, do you get pushback from them? Do
Sure.
you get kind of snickering remarks from them?
Oh, most of the folks we're getting now are pretty serious. Um, but we're getting the really, really newbies. What we don't seem to
Mm.
get back, and we're trying to work through why not and what we can do to get people to come to advanced training. Because literally, the introduction to motorcycle operation that we run, which is just getting folks familiar with the machine itself, because many of the younger folks have no idea how a clutch works.
Mm.
Okay, what do you mean I got to shift? I get in the car, I step on the brake, I push the button, car goes. you
Yeah.
know, maybe I have to put it in drive, car goes. They this whole idea of shifting, this whole idea of a clutch. So we have a 2 hour kind of an orientation to the machine.
Here's the clutch.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
here's the throttle.
Yeah.
Here's the brakes.
Hmm.
Okay. Now being operated by your hand, not your foot. Okay, so we go over that, and then the basic rider course one, we're talking straight line riding, negotiating curves, low speed maneuvering. The whole class they never get up over 20-25.
They're pretty
Okay.
much in the parking lot the whole time.
No, they are in the parking
Yeah.
lot all the they leave the motorcycle range, we have an issue. So they're in the parking lot. Um for which they can go down and they get their M endorsement. Well, it's kind of like when you were a kid and you first got your driver's license. You're not ready for a cross country trip. You're ready to practice these skills and sharpen them. But then you need to come back and sharpen the saw. As a as an attorney, you do continuing training, right?
Yes, yeah, all the time. You never
All
stop learning, right? The law's always
exactly.
changing or just being
The
reminded of
conditions
certain,
and
yeah.
yeah, sharpen
Hmm.
the saw. I mean,
Yeah.
that's even in management in lots of professions.
Hmm.
Sharpen the saw. Doctors have to go do continuing education. Okay. For some reason, in driving and motorcycling, it's like, well, I got my license. That's all I need. No, come back and again to have these discussions about risk awareness, to bring things back to mind, maybe learn some new
Hmm.
techniques. Bikes change, they're changing all the time. I mean, we now have ABS, we have other systems. So that's stuff that you can come back and perfect your skills, maybe learn some new skills. But we're not seeing folks come back. Oh, I know how to ride.
Yeah. And like you talk about, like that risk awareness to bring it to the front of mind again, because having it on the
Yeah,
front of mind really affects the way that we act, right? Recognizing
sure.
what those risks are. Here's, kind of, I think there's defensive driving or defensive riding, right? Versus being aggressive. Because here in Las Vegas, if you're too passive of a driver, you're gonna get in a crash. Like it is just you can't really be passive here. You've got to, follow the rules of the road, but you can't be so defensive where you're slowing down. And
Yes.
how do you teach that with motorcyclists, right? Because it's a matter of, okay, not speeding, right? But you can't be so passive where you then just become a city mark on the road.
Right. You have to I'm trying to think of exactly how I want to phrase it. You're absolutely correct. You can't be Chicken Little out there because you're
Yeah.
going to get run over. Um, so part of that is to get confident on your skills and keep yourself out of high stress, high traffic situations until you are confident. Okay, get out of town early on Sunday morning
Mm.
because we all know Sunday morning there are far less people on the road. So you get out of town where you can work on these skills without being in a high traffic, high stress situation. You want to stretch yourself. You just need to be careful not to push yourself too far. And and that's
Mhm.
that's part of it. And again, come back. Come back and see us on your own motorcycle, because a basic rider course one, you did it on our little 250s. Now you went out and bought yourself a maybe a 500, maybe a 650, maybe a big Harley. Okay, the concepts are the same, but the bike is different, and it's going to require more technique and inputs, more technique in braking. Okay, so come back and do it on your own bike. Get a little more professional watch. Even as a coach, we go out and watch the coaches to see how they're doing, because, and we want to watch the students. We want to watch people, because we'll see things that they do and they aren't even thinking about. So we can help them again to sharpen that saw, sharpen those skills, pick up some new skills, think about things. And we've even added the advanced rider course. I put it on the schedule. I even put it out as a give me your interest. Go ahead and sign up as an interest, so that when I get enough people, I can teach it. I've got coaches that are dying to teach it. I get nobody coming in.
Mhm.
And I've known people to go all the way up to northern Nevada to get the class
For the advanced,
for the advanced rider
and now
course.
it's available down here. And I think you bring up a really good point where, okay, maybe they have that risk tolerance top of mind all the time, right? They're paying attention to, what's the information that's available, right? Seeing what happens to their friends, seeing what information that maybe their club is providing to help support that. But having someone come in there and critically say, okay, what's going on? Where's your blind spot, right? Because we all have blind spots, whatever
Sure.
part of our avenue is. And as a coach, that's really what you provide for them is, hey, look, you may be a great writer, but let's take a look. Like,
But when
what are
was
you
the last
missing?
time you practiced swerving? When
Yeah.
was the last time you practiced a, a an aggressive corner or turn? When was the last time you practiced braking? Or do you just, hop on your bike and go out, and you don't practice these skills, and they degrade? I mean,
Mhm.
the metro officers practice all the time, and they still have issues. But at least they practice, those skills are sharp. If your skills mush,
And these are basics. I mean, you're
eh,
talking about the basics, like focusing on the basics.
well, they're crash avoidance skills.
Yeah.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just one of the things I watch in the advanced rider course is, okay, we'll just say I came into this corner a little fast. They teach that leaning off the bike, that changing that center of balance, so that you've got another tool in your toolbox other than stand the bike up and try to slow down. Because, sometimes you can get through it faster than you think you can if you have the right technique. But if you've never learned the technique, or you just kind of try to, well, I saw this guy on YouTube do this. Uh huh. And
Yeah.
did you catch all the nuances? Are you
Yeah.
doing it correct? That the guy on YouTube may be 100% correct, but are you actually doing what you think you're doing, what the guy on YouTube really is doing?
And even still, like you're talking about the risk tolerance versus spending some time just going out with a coach and making sure that it's right, right?
Yeah.
And making sure that
And let's
you're on the
face it,
edge.
our classes are cheaper than the price of a good helmet.
So you're talking about retirement.
Yes.
How do you see that? How do you see that playing out? Because it's just something you've been so passionate about for the past going on 30 years now, being a coach, helping people out. Like,
I'm moving to a different focus, and I'm still working out. I'm trying to get clarity as to exactly what that looks like. But,
oh, so it's not full retirement. It's not stepping out completely and
well,
being
no,
away from it.
I certainly would be
Yeah.
available, but that's a secret I haven't even told my boss yet.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Help me. But Yeah,
Uh,
okay, I'll just put it out there. I'm looking at doing a different ministry.
mhm.
I'm looking at maybe doing some work uh, in the local nursing homes.
Oh.
Um,
Mm.
you know, to giving back, giving back to my elders. I've helped the youngsters,
Mhm.
and eventually the younger coaches need to take over. Younger people need to take over because they need to be able to talk to the younger crowd. And so then I'll move my ministry into working more with folks that get put in put in retirement homes or nursing homes, and could just use somebody to come do a puzzle with them, or sit and talk to them, or or just listen to their stories.
And I love that you use the word ministry, and maybe I've been using the wrong word when I talk about you retiring. But have you seen that, like your time working as a coach for the past 30, almost 30 years? Have you seen that as a ministry, I guess, as being out there serving, helping people?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm. When I think about the word ministry, right, it kind of the other word that kind of associated frequently with that is like a calling that we have.
Well, it's a way of living our beliefs through our life. Yeah.